Ladies and gentlemen, there is a secret that every great achiever, every visionary, and every trailblazer has known. If you want to change your life, you must first change your state of mind. And the fastest, most powerful way to do that is simple. Act as if you already have what you want. Now, this isn't about pretending or playing make-believe. This is about aligning your actions, your attitude, and your energy with the life you're building, not the one you're escaping. You want confidence, then walk like it, speak like it, show up like it. You want success, then organize your time like a successful person. Dress like someone who respects their mission. Speak with purpose, move with discipline. You want love? Then love yourself now. Care for others now. Be the person your future relationship needs today. Acting like the person you want to become is one of the most transformative decisions you can make in your life. It's not just a motivational slogan or a psychological trick. It's a principle that redefines your identity and recalibrates your path to success. The truth is, your current actions are shaping your future identity more than your thoughts, intentions, or even your dreams. It's not what you hope for that defines you, it's what you consistently do. When you decide to act as if you already have what you want, you're not living in denial, you're living in alignment. You begin to behave like the person you're becoming, not the person you're trying to escape. Most people wait for a moment of clarity, a sign, or a reward before they change how they act. They say, when I feel confident, then I'll speak up, or once I'm successful, then I'll take myself serious. But it doesn't work that way. Life doesn't reward you based on what you wish for. It rewards you based on what you commit to through action. Imagine someone who wants to be a successful entrepreneur. They might not have the money, the recognition, or the resources yet. But if they wake up every morning, plan their day, take calculated risks, invest in learning, show up with excellence, and lead like a CEO, what do you think will happen over time? Eventually their reality will begin to reflect their actions. Why? Because their habits are shaping their identity. Their behavior is teaching their brain, this is who I am. And when your brain begins to believe it, your environment starts to catch up. This idea is deeply rooted in neuroscience. The brain is malleable. It's always rewiring itself based on repeated behavior. When you act a certain way repeatedly, your neural pathways start to strengthen around that behavior. This is why routines and habits are so powerful. When you act confidently, even if you're nervous, your body begins to remember what confidence feels like. Eventually, that action becomes a trait. You are literally building the version of yourself you want to become, one small act at a time. This also applies to things like discipline, kindness, and leadership. You don't become disciplined by reading about it. You become disciplined by waking up early when you're tired, by saying no to distractions even when they tempt you, by choosing long-term gain over short-term comfort. Every time you do that, you're voting for your future self. You're casting a ballot that says, this is who I am now. And guess what? Enough goes. And it becomes true. Let's talk about confidence again, because that's something many people want more of. They think confidence is a feeling that comes after success, but it's actually the opposite. Confidence is built through courageous action. Every time you speak up, When you're nervous, try something new despite fear, or stand firm in your beliefs even when others doubt you. You're building confidence. You tell your mind, I can do this. Over time, your mind stops doubting you because you've shown it enough evidence that you're capable. So confidence is not a prerequisite to action. It's a byproduct of action. Now here's something powerful. Your actions don't just shape your identity, they shape the world sees you. People treat you based on how you carry yourself. If you walk into a room, unsure, hesitant, and apologetic, people will treat you that way. But if you enter with presence, clarity, and certainty, even if you don't feel 100% ready, people will begin to respond to that version of you. Opportunities come to those who act like they already belong in the room. Doors open for those who act like they deserve to be there. And the moment you realize that, you stop waiting for permission. You start living on purpose. Does this mean you fake it? No, it means you faith it. You move with faith in who you're becoming, not fear of who you've been. You trust the process even before the proof arrives. You know that your current circumstances do not define your potential. They only reflect your past. But your actions today, they shape your future. So when you act like the version of you that already has what you want, you are fast-forwarding the timeline between desire and reality. To act like you already have what you want requires courage. It means stepping into unfamiliar territory. It means sometimes doing what feels unnatural because you're training yourself to become someone new. But that's the cost of transformation. It's not comfortable, but it's always worth it. You'll not change your life by waiting. You change it by behaving in a way that your future self would be proud of. So if you want a new identity, don't wait for it to find you. Build it. Act the part. Think the part. Live the part. Every decision, every habit, every word should echo the life you are stepping into. Because when you act like the person who already has what they want, you're not lying to yourself, you're leading yourself. You're declaring to the world, I'm not hoping for change. And that is where true transformation begins. Energy is magnetic. It speaks before you do. It enters the room before your words are formed, and it stays long after you've left. When you carry the energy of success, confidence, and certainty, you begin to draw in opportunities that match that frequency. This isn't about magical thinking or pretending that life is perfect. It's about embodying the mindset and energy of the future you, here and now. That's the core of acting as if. Aligning your energy with your vision until your outer worlds reflect your inner conviction. Think of a time when you met someone who instantly radiated confidence. They didn't even have to say much. You could just feel it. Their presence had weight. You trusted them, were drawn to them, maybe even inspired by them. That is the power of energy. And it works both ways. If you walk into a room unsure of yourself, hesitant or apologetic, people sense that too. The world responds to your energy far more than your words. I may be asking for big things in life, success, love, respect. But if your energy is filled with self-doubt, fear, or lack, you will continuously repel the very things you want. This is why it's essential to start living as if you already have what you desire. Because when you shift your energy, everything else begins to shift with it. If you want to be successful, start carrying the energy of someone who is already successful. That means showing up prepared. It means taking yourself seriously. It means being punctual. If you walk, talk, and move like someone with purpose, people will begin to treat you accordingly. And more importantly, you'll begin to believe it yourself. The phrase, fake it till you make it, often gets misunderstood. This isn't about faking skills or pretending to be something you're not. It's about activating the energy of belief before the results show up. It's about saying, I may not have the full picture yet, but I know where I'm going, and I'm going to act like it. That belief is powerful. It's contagious. When you believe in yourself, you teach the world to believe in you too. Now, here's something deeper. Your energy influences your decisions. When you carry the energy of abundance, you make bold moves. You take risks that align with your growth. You don't settle. But when you operate from scarcity or fear, you shrink. You delay. You play small, even when big things are meant for you. That's why changing your energy is more than just positive thinking. It's a strategic shift. It transforms how you approach everything. Your conversations, your career, your health, your relationship. Let's say you want to be in a healthy, loving relationship. Instead of focusing on what you lack, ask yourself, what energy would the best version of me bring into a relationship? Would you be needy or whole? Would you chase love or attract it by living a fulfilling, joyful life? When you carry the energy of someone who knows their worth, you stop accepting crumbs because you know you're worthy of the feast. You elevate your standards and the world responds. Or maybe you want to grow in your career. Instead of waiting for someone to give you a promotion, start acting like the person who deserves it. Take initiative, lead projects, solve problems, speak with clarity and confidence. When your energy says, I'm already operating at the next level, the opportunities to move up will find you. Why? Because your energy is now matching the reality you want. This also applies to money. If you're constantly saying, I'm broke, or I can't afford it, you reinforce the energy of lack. Instead, start shifting your language and your behavior. Respect your finances. Manage your money like someone who is financially empowered. Practice gratitude for what you have, and plan for more. When your energy says, I'm responsible, prepared, and open to increase, you create room for growth. Energy isn't just about how you feel in the moment. It's about the emotional atmosphere you create around yourself. It's the sum of your beliefs, your habits, and your intentions. That's why people who carry a strong, positive energy often seem lucky. It's not luck, it's alignment. They're living in sync with who they want to become, and the world can't help but mirror that back. Now, this doesn't mean you'll never have doubts or bad days. Acting as if doesn't mean suppressing your humanity. It means choosing to rise above your temporary feelings and embody your higher self, even when it's uncomfortable. It means recognizing your emotions, but not letting them dictate your direction. That's power. The most incredible part? This shift in energy is something you can control right now. You don't need money, fame, or a perfect past. You'll just need intention. Start walking like someone who values themselves. Speak with clarity. Look people in the eye. Keep your word. Treat yourself like someone worth investing in, because you are. The world isn't waiting for you to become successful to respect you. The world is waiting for you to carry the energy of someone who respects themselves. That's when the magic happens. That's when doors open. Because when you show up like it's already yours, the universe starts moving things to catch up with your energy, to act, speak, walk, move, decide. Like it's already done. Like you already have it. Because once your energy is aligned, everything else follows. The way your brain functions is deeply influenced by the thoughts you entertain and the actions you repeat. Most people don't realize this, but your mind is constantly learning, constantly adapting. When you act as if you already have what you want, you aren't lying to yourself. You're training your brain to believe it's possible. You're rewiring your mind for possibility, for abundance, for success. The more you do it, the more it becomes second nature. The human brain is not a fixed machine. It's designed to change based on input. This is known as neuroplasticity. Every thought you think and every action you take reinforces a neural pathway in your brain. The more often you repeat something, the stronger that pathway becomes. This is how habits form. It's how beliefs are built. So when you act as if you're already confident, disciplined, or successful, you're literally creating the neural structure to support that identity. Let's break this down. Suppose you want to become more confident. You might not feel confident right now, but if you start speaking clearly, maintaining eye contact, standing tall, and making decisions with authority, your brain begins to associate those actions with your self-image. At first, it may feel uncomfortable or even fake, but that discomfort is simply your brain adjusting to new data. Over time, as you keep repeating these behaviors, your mind will start to say, "This must be who I am." This is incredibly powerful because most people are stuck in a loop of reinforcing who they don't want to be. They feel insecure, so they speak softly and avoid attention. They feel like a failure, so they procrastinate and avoid taking risks. Those actions then reinforce the original belief, "I'm not good enough." It becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. But when you flip that and start acting like the person you want to become, even before you feel like that person, you create a new loop, one that supports your growth instead of limiting it. Your imagination plays a critical role in this process. Visualization is a technique used by top performers in every field, from athletes to entrepreneurs, because it primes the brain for success. When you vividly imagine yourself performing at a high level, your brain fires the same neurons as if you were actually doing it. This mental rehearsal, combined with real action, accelerates your transformation. That's why acting as if is so much more than pretending. It's programming. It's mental conditioning. Think of your brain like a GPS. It doesn't care whether you're currently sitting in your driveway or halfway to your destination. It only needs to know where you want to go. When you act as if you're already there, you give your brain a clear target. And what happens? It starts scanning for routes, looking for shortcuts, identifying opportunities. You become more aware, more focused, and more resourceful. Not because circumstances changed, but because your mind did. Now it's important to note that your brain is always working to confirm your beliefs. If you believe you're not worthy, you'll subconsciously seek out experiences that validate that belief. But when you start acting like someone who is worthy, someone who sets boundaries, who aims high, who walks with intention, you begin to gather new evidence. Slowly, the belief shifts. Your brain says, wait a minute, maybe I was wrong, and that small shift in belief can change everything. People often say, I'll believe it when I see it. But the truth is, you'll see it when you believe it. And the fastest way to believe something new is to act like it's already true. That's how transformation begins, not with waiting for evidence, but with being bold enough to create it. Let's take an example. Say you want to be a public speaker, but you've always been shy. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. But if you start acting like a confident speaker, joining speaking clubs, practicing your tone, studying great communicators, and putting yourself in front of audiences, your brain starts adjusting. The nerves don't disappear overnight, but they begin to fade as confidence grows. One small action, repeated consistently, builds a foundation for massive change. This is true in relationships too. If you want to be in a healthy, loving partnership, start acting like someone who already has one. That means being kind, patient, self-respecting, and emotionally open. Not because someone is watching, but because that energy attracts what you want and prepares you to receive it when it arrives. You don't wait for love to show up before you learn how to love well. You train for it now. You show your brain, this is what we're doing. This is who we are. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. Every small action, every time you speak up, show up, or do something difficult, adds to the momentum of who you are becoming. That's the power of acting as if. It puts you in motion. It tells your brain, we're not stuck, we're on a mission. But eventually, something amazing happens. What once felt forced becomes natural. What once felt out of reach becomes your reality. The brain that once doubted you now supports you. And you look back, not even recognizing the person you used to be. So many people live their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for validation, waiting for someone to rescue them from the circumstances they feel trapped in. But the truth is, the moment you tie your happiness or your sense of worth to some future outcome, you hand over your power. You give life permission to decide for you. That's the trap of the victim mentality. It says, I'll be happy when things change. But the power of this mentality says, things will change because I've already decided to live as if they have. When you act as if you already have what you want, you break free from the mental cage of waiting. You stop letting your circumstances define your confidence, joy, and behavior. You start choosing your reality instead of reacting to it. Instead of saying, I'll feel successful once I get that job, you say, I am successful because I show up, I prepare, I grow, and I lead. This subtle shift isn't about ignoring your current reality. It's about refusing to be limited by it. People stuck in a victim mindset often live passively. They say, I can't start, this is because I don't have the money. Or, I can't get in shape because I don't have time. Or, I can't find love because people keep hurting me. These are all understandable thoughts. But they come from the belief that life is something happening to you, not something you can shape. That's where the danger lies. If you believe your destiny is out of your control, then it will be. Acting as if happens flips that entirely. It forces you to take ownership. Instead of waiting to feel motivated, you start taking action. Instead of waiting to feel confident, You begin doing things that build confidence. You say, I'm not going to wait to feel like a leader. I'm going to lead now. I'm going to behave like someone who knows they matter. I'm going to speak up, step forward, and carry myself with purpose. That's not arrogance. That's responsibility. That's maturity. That's choosing to no longer be defined by fear or doubt. When you live as if you already have what you desire, you also eliminate excuses. You stop using someday as a crutch. You realize that your mindset, your attitude, your discipline, those are all within your control, no matter what's going on around you. And that realization is incredibly empowering, because once you take responsibility for how you think and act, you also take back control over your future. Take, for example, someone who wants to become wealthy. The victim mentality says, I was born into a poor background. No one taught me about money. The system is unfair. And while all those things might be true, none of them have to dictate your future unless you let them. When you act as if you're already financially empowered, you start studying money. You manage the little that you do have. You look for ways to earn more, save more. You think long-term. You plan. You act. That's how you build wealth. By taking on the identity and behaviors of someone who's already in control. The same is true for emotional growth. Maybe you've been hurt. Maybe life has thrown more at you than you ever expected. Acting as if doesn't mean denying your pain. It means refusing to let that pain define your future. You act as if you are healing, as if you are strong, as if your heart is open and capable of deep love, even if it's still learning how to trust again. And the more you act in line with your healing, the more that healing becomes your reality. This mindset also protects you from falling into patterns of blame. Blaming other people, blaming society, blaming your past. All of it might feel justified, but it keeps you powerless. When you act as if your future depends on you and only you, you stop looking outward and start reaching inward. You ask, what can I do right now with what I have? That's where change begins. Eventually you stop being the person who talks about change and become the person who lives it. People will look at you and wonder what happened. They'll think you got lucky. They won't see the work you did in silence, the mindset shifts, the uncomfortable actions, the daily choices that no one applauded but you made anyway. That's what acting as if really means. It means betting on yourself. It means behaving like someone who knows the future is theirs to share. So stop waiting for permission, stop waiting for the right mood, the right people, the right break. Start living like it's already yours, because when you do, life has a way of rising to meet the energy you bring to it. Clarity is one of the most powerful forces in life. Without it, you drift. With it, you move forward with purpose. When you act as if you already have what you want, it forces you to get clear on what that actually is. You can't pretend to be something vague. You can't embody an idea that isn't defined. So the act of stepping into your future self requires you to ask yourself deep, meaningful questions. Who do I want to be? What does my ideal life look like? How does that version of me behave, speak, think, and choose? These questions pull you into alignment, and alignment brings power. Old people walk around with foggy goals. They want to be successful, but they haven't defined what success means to them. They want to be happy, but they haven't decided what brings them joy. They want to grow, but they haven't mapped out what direction they're growing in. Acting as if forces that clarity. You can't carry the energy of your desired future unless you've taken time to visualize what that future is. And when you do get clear, something amazing happens. Your mind begins to work like a compass. It starts scanning your environment for anything that matches your vision. Your brain is wired to find what you focus on. This is called the reticular activating system, or RAS, and it acts like a filter for your awareness. When you define what you want and begin acting like it's already yours, the RAS tunes into that frequency. You start noticing people, opportunities, and ideas that you never saw before. It's not that they suddenly appeared, it's that you're finally aligned with them. That's the magic of clarity and focus. Acting as if programs your internal GPS. It gives your brain a destination. Think of it this way. If you were to play the role of someone in a movie, you'd need to know everything about the character. You'd study their mannerisms, understand their values, know how they'd react in different situations. When you act as if in real life, you're doing the same thing. You're stepping into a role. But this time, the character is you, the real you, the highest version of yourself. And in order to play that role powerfully, you need a script. You need a vision. You need to know who that person is. The clearer you are, the stronger your presence becomes. People can feel when you know who you are and where you're going. They respond to that energy with trust, respect, and often with opportunity. That's why clarity isn't just personal, it's relational. It shapes how the world treats you. When you carry the energy of someone who knows what they want and believes it's already in motion, people are more likely to support you, invest in you, and follow your lead. Why? Doing, drawn in. It feels, had 7, doing something. Why does it matter? It colors nothing. It does nothing. Clarity also cuts through fear. Fear thrives in the unknown. When you don't know what you want or where you're going, everything feels risky. Every choice feels heavy. But when you have a crystal clear vision, fear loses its grip. You start making decisions with more ease because you're no longer questioning every step. You know where the path is leading even when setbacks happen. You don't collapse because your direction is rooted in something deeper. That's the stability clarity brings. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you want to become a successful entrepreneur. If you don't get specific, your actions will be scattered. You'll chase random opportunities, copy others, and burn out quickly. But if you define exactly what success looks like, what kind of business you want to build, what kind of impact you want to make, how you want your day-to-day life to feel, you can begin acting in alignment with that. You can make decisions that move you toward your vision instead of just keeping you busy. And the more you act like the version of you who's already running that successful business, the more natural it becomes. Acting as if isn't pretending. It's aligning. It's bridging the gap between your present and your potential. It's stepping into clarity so deeply that your daily habits start reflecting your dreams. You wake up with purpose. You structure your day intentionally. You say no to distractions. You say yes to discipline. Because you're no longer lost. You've seen the vision. And now everything in you is working to meet it. Another powerful benefit of clarity is emotional resilience. When you know what you want and why you want it, you become less reactive. You stop chasing validation. You stop getting caught up in comparison. You don't need to impress anyone because your focus isn't on external approval. It's on internal alignment. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what gives you peace. So if you feel stuck or scattered, the answer isn't always to hustle harder. Sometimes the answer is to pause and ask, who am I becoming? What does my best life look like? What kind of energy does that version of me carry? And then begin to act in a way that reflects that clarity. Your clothes might not change, your address might not change, but your identity will. And once your identity shifts, your life follows. Because clarity isn't just a feeling. It's a tool. And when you act as if you already have what you want, clarity becomes your foundation. It becomes your power. And with that power, you can build anything. The power of acting as if you already have what you want isn't just about mindset. It's about momentum. Momentum is the invisible force that turns small actions into unstoppable movement. It's what separates dreamers from doers and the successful from the stagnant. When you start behaving like the person you aspire to be, even in small ways, you generate a kind of energetic shift. Each action builds on the last. Each choice reinforces the identity you're stepping into. And soon, you're no longer just imagining your future. You're living it in motion. In the beginning, the steps might feel awkward or insignificant. Maybe you start by waking up a bit earlier, organizing your day, making healthier choices, speaking more intentionally, or focusing on gratitude. Those changes might seem minor at first, but they are seeds. They're signals to your subconscious that you are becoming someone new. And the more consistently you plant those seeds, the more momentum you create. That momentum makes it easier to keep going even on hard days. What once took discipline starts to become instinct. What once felt forced becomes natural. Momentum also breaks the cycle of inertia. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they never get moving. They wait for motivation, for the perfect plan or the right timing. But nothing changes until you move. And once you start, even if it's messy or imperfect, you've broken the grip of stillness. You've proven to yourself that action is possible. That belief is powerful. It builds confidence, and confidence leads to more action. This is how you shift from feeling stuck to becoming unstoppable. Acting as if creates that first push. It doesn't matter if you feel unqualified. It doesn't matter if your environment doesn't reflect your dream yet. What matters is that you act like you belong to your vision, that you walk into each day with the posture of someone who knows where they're going. This energy draws things to you, opportunities, connections, ideas. All of them respond. Every successful person you admire began with small, deliberate actions. They weren't always confident. They didn't always have the perfect plan. But they started. They made phone calls. They practiced skills. They showed up even when it was inconvenient. They acted as if success was inevitable, and by doing so, they created momentum that carried them forward. The secret wasn't talent. It was persistence. It was the willingness to move without guarantee, to keep going before the reward was visible. Momentum also helps you bounce back from setbacks. When you're in motion, a failure doesn't feel like the end. It feels like feedback. You don't collapse. You recalibrate. You keep going. That's the advantage of building momentum. You're not dependent on perfect circumstances anymore. You've trained yourself to keep moving regardless of how you feel. That's resilience. That's power. There's something else that happens. When you act as if and keep going, you start inspiring others. People notice your consistency, your belief, your energy, and often they'll start helping you, offering opportunities, sharing resources, encouraging your growth. Momentum creates visibility. It puts you on the radar of the very people and places you need to connect with. But none of that happens until you start. You can't be discovered if you're hiding. You can't be helped if you're not helping yourself. Most importantly, momentum helps you trust yourself. Each time you follow through, each time you take action in alignment with your future self, you build self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of self-worth. It says, I keep my word to myself. I don't quit when it gets tough. I'm becoming who I said I'd be. That kind of belief is magnetic. It changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you handle prayer. And all of that starts with small steps, repeated daily, fueled by the simple but profound decision to act as if. So if you're tired of being stuck, stop overthinking. Stop waiting for permission. Pick one action, no matter how small, and take it today. Do it again tomorrow, and again the next day. Because once you build momentum, the path ahead starts to open up. Doors appear where there used to be walls. Energy returns where there used to be fatigue, and the life you've been dreaming of starts being a fantasy. It starts becoming your reality. One action at a time. One choice at a time. That's the power of momentum. That's the reward of acting as if.